Hey, welcome to the Truth About Marketing. It's Kevin Rogers here. Today I'm going to do something a little different, and I'm going to take a snippet, if you will, of an interview I did recently with a guy named Jan Ilanga. Very cool guy, a Swedish fella who has a podcast called 360 Entrepreneur. We did a great interview, and I thought it'd be cool if I shared just a piece of that interview with you for today's short how-to episode of this podcast. It's all about the age-old question of how long does a sales letter need to be? This is an ongoing debate that's been happening ever since I got into this business 10 years ago. Some people just can't stand looking at those long, scrolling sales letters, and they wonder who in the world would ever read all this, who is actually responding to all this copy. So I answer that question, and I talk about a really important subject that we've maybe touched on a little bit on this podcast in the past, which is the future of sales copy length and how mobile traffic is having a huge effect on how we need to communicate and how our copy needs to be approached in a way that it can be segmented to meet our best customers where they are. So I hope you enjoy this little snippet of an interview I did just this week. It's very relevant, and as always, I invite you to come visit me at copychief.com and learn more about all this important marketing and copywriting stuff. See you there.
Sometimes I scratch my head when I still see those super long sales pages. They really look old school to me, and I wonder, what do they still work? And I was curious to see what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt that there's people who scratch their head at that and people who don't. It really sort of depends on the market. There are very successful people. Like it'd be easy for somebody to say, well, that's just old school marketing, right? Some super long sales letter. But it really is just more market specific. So, for instance, in the financial markets, people they just are hyper consumers of information. Right. And so they will gladly read a super long sales letter because it's not just constantly talking about the product. It's packed full of information, meant to persuade you and make you feel special and educated. And it's teaching. Like a good sales letter, you should leave it, even if you don't end up buying the product, you should leave the letter a smarter person than when you came to it, right? So it's almost like you're reading a really, content-rich blog post as much as you are a sales letter. But, the financial markets, people really crave information. It's important for them to be in the know. And so they will read super long stuff. Same with videos. People would say, who in the world would watch a 40-minute video, right, just to find out what this product costs and all that. But the most successful video sales letter of the last, maybe of all time, is from Porter Stansberry, called The End of America, and it was like 46 minutes long. Whoa. And it made $500 million or something ridiculous. I mean, it's just, so... Yeah, they definitely work. There's just too much data to ever say they don't work. However, you have to meet your customer where they are and, in the medium that they prefer to consume in, right? So there are ways to sort of take a long sales pitch or offer and break it up into smaller increments. Like, for instance, there's so much traffic is on mobile devices now, right? That's the thing that's changing the game more than anything. Like, obviously, no one's going to sit there on their phone and read one of these crazy long sales letters or sit there and watch a 45-minute video on their phone. It would eat up all their battery, and plus they're so distracted. There'd be, text coming in and all these things to distract them away. So it'd be silly for any marketer to hope that they could just produce a VSL and expect all that mobile traffic to buy. Because the other thing is people aren't probably not going to sit there and fill out an order form on their phone, right? Take out their credit card and type their credit card numbers in and all that stuff. So you have to realize, you have to create a separate piece of advertising specific for mobile users so that they can engage with you quickly. Give them some piece of content that they feel compelled by to learn more about you and what you're offering, and then give them a chance to bookmark or like or do something to put themselves in your jet stream, so to speak, so that you can continue sending them messages and hopefully get them to a situation where they'll sit down and take some time to really hear what you have to offer.